Hi again. I want to go over the idea of our pelvic floor. And I guess I'll sit a little bit closer. So, our pelvic floor is connected, obviously down here, is connected to our diaphragm. And so, what that means is every time we breathe in, our pelvic floor actually relaxes. And then every time we exhale, it kind of snaps back up to connect to your diaphragm. And so, right now, baby is in the way of that to kind of bridge that connection to like come back. And so diaphragmatic breathing is super important. So just understanding in the terms of as we breathe in, our pelvic floor actually relaxes. And you can kind of think about it as like a blossom, like a flower blossoming, a balloon blowing up. Because what it's doing is as you breathe in, you get to relax your pelvic floor. And then as you breathe out, you get to keep that relaxation, but it's like a hugging in for your pelvic floor to make the connection with your diaphragm. And I know it seems very counterintuitive, but we've been doing a lot of pelvic floor exercise and work and just all the things to kind of like be aware of our pelvic floor muscles. And now we get the opportunity to actually understand how they work with our breath. And so during labor, during all the amazing, amazing waves that you get to experience, the beauty of that is the peak of the wave, the peak of the contraction is the most important time to breathe into your pelvic floor like it's blossoming and breathe out, keeping it as soft as you can as you soften your shoulders out and knowing that it's only going to be about 10 to 15 seconds of the peak of the contraction, the peak of the wave. And I always like to think about like in labor, like it's literally a dance, it's literally a wave, it's literally an ever flowing game. And if we're standing strong and we're just letting the wave hit us over and over and over and not moving with it, not allowing it to kind of take over our body, labor is going to take so much longer because we're resisting it, right? And of course, there's fear there. And so, just working through the fear and knowing you will feel the most sensation you will ever feel in your entire life, and knowing that it's completely normal and it's completely safe and okay. So, we're going to practice a little diaphragmatic breathing. And this is just a gentle introduction, and we'll go in more depth in our calls and stuff. But as you sit down, I like to kind of either sit back on my heels, you can sit on a pillow, you can sit on your ball, whatever feels just like most supportive to you. And placing your hand somewhere where you can kind of feel the connection. And then let's take just a breath in, breath out. Good. Closing your eyes if that's comfy. And as you breathe in, feeling your pelvic floor blossom. And as you breathe out, keeping it soft, letting your shoulders drop and feeling that contraction of your breath, expelling the air from your lungs. And take a big breath in, feeling the softening, and a full breath out. And breathing in and breathing out. So as I'm breathing in, I'm letting that pelvic floor relax. I'm breathing into my belly. And then letting my pelvic floor keep soft as my belly contracts in. Diaphragmatic breathing to bridge that connection. And breathing in, letting it soften, letting you open up. And breathing out, feeling that hugging in. So it's kind of like, and you can release your breath. It's kind of, I introduced 360 breathing a while back. And hopefully, we've been practicing that because that same breath is what you're technically doing, but now you're actually releasing the pelvic floor. So the 360 breathing, we're just getting control of our diaphragm and just starting to understand those muscles. And now we can actually work on like literally letting, I know it sounds silly, but like blossoming is like the perfect word because like if you look here, our pelvic floor muscles are so tight, especially with all the exercise and movement we do. And then as you breathe in, we want those muscles to soften and expand so that you can actually dilate. And then as you breathe out, they're automatically going to come back in and like sift right back up to the diaphragm. But the work is just keeping it nice and soft. So again, we will go over that a little bit more and you can just practice that as you're just like working on your ball, whatever you're doing, by letting it soften as you breathe in and breathe out. And then one thing I want to note, if renote, super important right now in pregnancy is whenever you are sitting, like standing up, lifting something, doing something that's like moving you into like a more standing posture, breathe out. No matter what you do, breathe out. So when you stand up or before you stand up, take a breath in and then your breath out. And that will not put so much pressure on your pelvic floor. Because what the pressure does over time with all this like exercise and squats and lifting and things like that is it puts pressure on our pelvic floor, which then creates hemorrhoids, easier chances of tearing, things like that. So the work is in our pelvic floor. So again, it's usually like this, nice and tight. Then we inhale, we let it open and blossom out. And then as it comes back in, it reconnects back to the diaphragm. So that's all I got for you. No, that's a lot, but again, just introduced, so we'll go into that a little bit more. But all the love. I will see you next time.